publish this. All right, everyone. I think we should be able to hear me on YouTube now. I apologize, guys. That should have come unmuted already. I appreciate you guys greatly for coming and joining us today. This is what we're calling a founder fireside. We've actually got two elements of Galactic here today. We've got Mike Sarvadaya, our CEO and glorious founder. We also have Frederick Svilling, who is our cryptography savant, an absolute mad lad. And we will be asking an awful lot of technical questions today, I believe. I think we're going to try and get you guys in the listener panel through Galactica's tech stack and really try and dive deep and get a really good understanding of the tech side of things. So with that in mind, let's get to some introductions, proper introductions with the men themselves. So firstly, Mike, welcome to the show again, mate. How are you doing today, bro?
Yeah, doing just well, Dave. Thank you. And yeah, thank you for everyone who is with us today, this wonderful day. So I guess everyone should be quite happy given the market. So I guess it should be like a good vibes type of space, as it always is, but now even better, I guess. Yeah, and I'm really thankful also for Frederick for finding the time to be with us today as well.
Hell yes, man. It is a very, very green set of days, and I'm loving it. Frederick, how are you enjoying the day and how are you enjoying the markets today?
Hey everyone, feeling good. Was a little bit sick, unfortunately, the last days, but already on the way to the recovery. And yeah, quite excited, as always, to be in the space, because I think there are a lot of great questions from the community. I also like sharing what we are doing on the technical side, because I think there's a lot of exciting things going on, what we are building, how it works, what people can build with it. So happy to share that.
For sure, man. Absolutely. And I think the community are going to go nuts for this one. So everyone who's in the YouTube chat, everyone who's on the X space, thank you for being here. If you can put your questions in the comment section of X. If you are watching and listening on YouTube, then make sure you put your questions in the YouTube chat. I'll only be able to feature the YouTube chat questions on stream, but I'll be reading out the good ones from X too, just so you guys know. This is more of like the title suggests, it's more like a fireside kind of vibe here. We're going to be being a bit more loose with things, but we kind of want to also have a little bit of structure so we get all the way through everything that we want to teach you guys. So first things first, guys. Mike, we'll start with you just to get a bit of context. Can you kind of like describe the history in brief of Galactica so everyone gets the full story before we dive into the tech?
The history of Galactica sounds a bit overwhelming.
Yeah. In brief.
So, yeah, I guess from where should I start? So, yeah, I mean, look, I guess, I don't know, for anyone who is still not aware of this or who hasn't been with us from the very beginning, like we began as the idea was an operating system for network states, right? So obviously, like in a network state, you would prefer to have a political process explicitly modeled on a blockchain. And for that, you would need obviously like some kind of identity primitives, because you would like to have, for example, some sort of a democratic setup or whatnot, maybe meritocratic, who knows. And for that, you actually need the actual subject, so people that can do the voting or whatnot. And for that, we needed the identity, and so that was the initial idea. Yeah, well, we have been moving towards this, but with baby steps. And in the meanwhile, trying to solve a couple of other things that have been like issues in the space, and that we, I think, have a very good answer to. These days, maybe Frederick can also like say a couple of things on this a little bit later. But yeah, the compliant privacy is obviously a very big issue. So you would like to have, I mean, everybody loves meme coins, I guess, and things like that. I mean, who doesn't? But it would be also super cool if we could bring some traditional capital markets on chain, right? So thinking about like trading some NASDAQ stocks during the weekend, for example, does sound like a wonderful value proposition. Happens to be actually the problem or use case that requires the exact same system that network states require. So it's just these identity abstractions that are needed. So that thing we did solve with Swissborg as a partner. So yeah, we will have like probably this Monday a very exciting release on this. So like everybody, please stay tuned. And then also, I guess the general problem of reputation systems on chain is like a very overarching narrative that we are trying to position ourselves in. And if you think about reputation functions, you're really talking about pretty much any use case in the internet broadly, in one way or the other, is driven by reputation functions. So be it, for example, advertising and targeting, be it, for example, your voting power in some voting process, be it, for example, your credit rating for taking a loan, pretty much anything, or your compliance even, like all of these things are examples of reputation functions. And that's what, that's the actual thing that we're working on. And in order for these reputation functions to remain private, we have invented this identity virtual machine technology. And it happens to involve a lot of interesting cryptographic primitives, and that's I guess also something that Frederick can speak about. But yeah, that's the broad idea. So we started with network state operating systems, and then through compliant privacy ended up with a broad topic of identity and Web3 reputation functions, and eventually the identity virtual machine. And then the idea was that identity virtual machine is a very important utility. And because it is so important, we believe that it needs to be as distributed as possible in terms of ownership. And hence we went into the Telegram as the distribution venue for both the technology itself and for nodes. And there, we got a couple of very strong partnerships, including the Bloom, which is the biggest community, I believe, in Telegram today. And so that's, Telegram is our focus interface-wise. Identity virtual machine is what we are working on, and operating system for network states is the ultimate goal. I guess that's the best way to put these things together, I think.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, just wanted to get some good context for all the listeners, because I know we have so many new users right now. And welcome, by the way, everyone who is new to Galactica. But from the bottom of our hearts, welcome. You have joined something that is truly special and unique in the Web3 space. And like Mike says, you've got some really insane stuff that's coming to blockchain that you just haven't seen before. You've got KYC'd identities that are private, and that you only have to do once. Like you can go across, you move across as many dApps as you want with a single identity. That's sick. That's really cool. You can completely monetize your sovereign data. Also sick. Really cool. There's so many use cases, and not even to mention the improvements in blockchain governance that we're going to get from the stuff that we're doing. So yeah, you're welcome, and I'm really glad you're here with us. While I've got your attention, if you go to the bottom right-hand side of your phone on X, you'll be able to share the space. If you click on the little purple pill, give us a retweet, give us a like, and if you have a question, give us a comment. We're more than happy to answer. So Frederick, welcome, man. I'm really, 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 really happy that you're here, mate. So let's go into some of the tech stuff. What I've done, what I figured we'll do, is go through the kind of data journey of Galactica from the technical side of things, and I want to just kind of get the underpinning tech from you, and how it kind of works. So the first thing that anyone does with Galactica is jump on their cipherbook or on their new Telegram passport, and they will want to encrypt and on-ramp some data with Galactica's guardians. So first of all, mate, what is a guardian from a technical standpoint, and how would they go about this? And can you give a practical example?
Yeah. So maybe let's start with a practical example, because I think this is what most users will also approach it from. That, for example, they want to use some dApp or ICO or something where they need to disclose some data about themselves. For example, maybe it's an ICO that's only available to people from non-sanctioned countries and people that are at least 18 years old. And now I want to provide this option in a decentralized and permissionless way, but without requiring the user to disclose his private data. So I don't want to share my actual birthday on chain. I don't want to share my my name on chain, and this in many systems we are used to is a bit difficult because the blockchain itself on Cosmos or EVM is public and you can see what others are doing. So there's this really nice breakthrough with zero-knowledge cryptography that you can make proofs about data and share only the Boolean statement if your proof is correct or not. So you can prove, for example, that I have the data about myself, that I am at least 18 years old and from a non-sanctioned jurisdiction. And I can share this proof and someone else can verify it without actually seeing my data. And but one thing we need there is that the person or the smart contract verifying this proof needs some on-chain verification data to check that the data I am talking about is actually valid. So what we need to have is that there is some on-chain hash of my data. That's an attestation of, for example, my KYC data or data from a social network or trading data exported from a centralized exchange or something like this. And if I now want to take part in this step that requires compliance, the step will check if my account has already passed these compliance proofs. And if not, it will forward me to a guardian that is able to check my data and then put the verification hash on chain. So in the simplest example, this can be a KYC provider. Like we have already integrated Swissborg, a large regulated entity from Europe. And when I pass my KYC with Swissborg, Swissborg can then issue the verification hash of my KYC data on chain and then send me an encrypted document that they signed and that I can use then to generate proofs about my data. And so this is the first step to get the KYC. And the second step is then to generate the proof that I'm at least 18 years old, for example. And we wanted to do this in a way that aligns with the blockchain values that we want to have. So we want to have self-custody over your own data. Sorry?
Nothing. No. I was just agreeing. I was doing the whole punk ass
okay.
fist. Come on.
Okay. Yeah. So we want to have self-custody over our data, and this means that we also want to generate the zero-knowledge proofs about my data in self-custody, so that I don't have to share my private data to some server. And we're doing this basically by integrating in existing wallets that the users use in self-custody. And because Galactica supports EVM smart contracts, and a lot of the activity is happening in EVM smart contracts, we integrated with MetaMask. And MetaMask has this extension system called Snaps, where we can actually provide an extension that makes MetaMask able to hold zero-knowledge data about me and also generate those proofs on my machine with my keys that stay on my machine and so on. So you can then import the encrypted data that the Guardian sent you with the signature that it's valid. And then the website can send a request to MetaMask to generate a proof. I, as a user, can review this proof, check if this actually discloses what I want and not more. And then this can be sent on chain so that decentralized smart contracts verifies this proof and issues something like a verification SPT that just states that this address has passed the requirements. And then I'm able to use, for example, the ICO in a compliant way because I've proven these statements, and it's also still a private way because nowhere I shared my birthday or name publicly.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful, Frederick. This is this is the core tech that's underpinning our ability on Galactica to both verify and still be private for all your interactions on blockchain. And I know the technical stuff is something that is honestly beautiful in my eyes. When I actually first looked at this tech stack, I was just like, wow, they might have actually figured this thing out, and it's truly impressive. One of the main questions that has popped up in the chat is regarding the MetaMask Snap. How dependent is Galactica's reputational function on the Snap facility? How can we easily integrate this kind of feature into other wallets?
Yeah, so I guess I can hop here. So basically, yeah, the idea is that the thing which really binds the accounts together is the encrypted data itself, right? And so if there is a way to easily share that data between environments, then basically like a cloud solution, you can think about it, then we are quite independent from the Snap. So basically the programmability of snaps is a very nice feature which is not really replicated in a nice way elsewhere. So it's going to be quite challenging to use, at least out of those things I'm aware of, other things when we're talking about the web, right? But at the same time, the integration we're currently doing in Telegram will pretty much replace the Snap with Telegram Cloud. And presumably it will be much easier to, in terms of user experience, must be quite, somewhat simpler. And then there is this big problem of how to synchronize the certificates, the zero-knowledge certificates that you hold across the environment. So basically how to make sure that if I uploaded something on the web, I get it reflected in Telegram and vice versa. And so that is something that will require a cloud solution. But we do have quite a clear understanding of how to do that. But basically, yeah, so that's the idea. So I guess Frederick can add some context here, but the Snaps is like quite a perfect tool when it comes to a wallet with some additional logic on top of it. We're currently quite dependent on them, but this inter-environment type of movement of the encrypted documents is something we're currently working on, and that shouldn't be too hard, I guess, even though it's not trivial, but it's not impossible. So yeah, I guess Frederick, maybe I said a lot of wrong things right now. So please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, completely agree, because what we actually provide is an SDK where all the zero-knowledge cryptography is implemented. And there are a couple of functions to then generate proofs. And this SDK is just implemented in this MetaMask Snap to provide it to the user in a simple way. But the same way we integrated our zero-knowledge SDK in the MetaMask Snap, part of the dev team right now is also working on integrating it in a Telegram mini app. So it can be easily added to other systems. It just needs some considerations where to edit in a way that it still provides also the user experience that that we need to make it simple for people to see, for example, what they're disclosing, to make it fast enough, and so on.
Perfect. I mean, guys, everyone listening here, building identities and reputation on a blockchain is difficult. It's tough. So I think getting one platform completely correct before we go over to others is certainly the way to go about it. But obviously, as Mike and Frederick have both pointed out, just a technical issue. All technical issues can be overcome. It's not really a consideration of if, but when. Let's go on to the other. So thank you for the questions, guys, in the Twitter. That was great. The second part that you kind of talked about that caused a little stir was the zero knowledge certificates. So can you go into a bit more detail on those? I mean, we know kind of that zero knowledge certificates are pivotal for privacy purposes, but how do they work and what makes them kind of a superior solution to anything else for the kind of data attestation on chain?
So the zero knowledge certificate is more or less a data object that is representing some real world data, like your KYC, or maybe some data imported from another chain or a social network or something like this. And it provides everything the certificate needs so that it can later be, so that the user can later make proofs about it on chain. So it, for example, also includes a signature from the guardian that authorizes and says that this data is actually valid. It has an expiration date, because maybe something like KYC data expires after some time. And then this together can be hashed, and this hash is then put on chain in a Merkle tree so that you can also verify it in an easy way. And at the moment we have a couple of standards provided for different kinds of zero knowledge certificates. One is a standard about KYC, about Twitter data, exchange data, and some arbitrary data for other use cases. And you can use these standards to build interoperable solutions where different guardians and dApps can work together and reuse proofs that you have already made. But the system is also open for new approaches that we are not thinking about right now.
Super cool. Mike, maybe you can go into a little bit on this. So reputation decay was very briefly mentioned there. Can you kind of give like a little brief idea of the reputation concept and how kind of reputation decay features into that, so people understand how reputation can go down rather than just up?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very particular feature, which is like, I mean, explaining this for me kind of like implies that there are some, well, I will assume some basic knowledge of everything else, but of the reputational framework. Yeah, the idea with reputation decay is that just among other properties which would be desired for reputation functions, you need to take into account this time series dimension, where basically reputation does not is not kind of equal neither in the cross section, so between the users, nor in the time series basically for the same user over time. And reputation decay is this particular thing which reflects this temporal dimension. So the idea is that, of course, let me give you some example. I mean, let's say that I want to reward some achievement that the user has made, for example, for reposting my tweet or something like this. Let's say that I give the user a particular amount of points for that. But then basically this amount of points, let's say I want to make it time dependent and I want to incentivize the user to constantly reiterate this action, right? So for example, to continue engaging with something on Twitter or whatever that could be. It can be, of course, any other use case as well. And so basically the thing is that, over time, the points that have been gathered from a given task, they have to decrease with time, right? So for some applications, not for all of them. So for example, a good example could be your voting power in some political system where let's say that in the beginning of the protocol, a person has contributed a lot and has therefore had one's voting power very high for some reason, because this voting power takes a reputation function of some achievements, which took into account some achievements of the user at the very inception of the protocol. But then let's say 10 years later, right, in some governance decision, and let's say this person is already not even like on the network really, so not using it for some reason. Of course, there must be a way for us to take out of quorum the voting power of this particular person, given that the person has not been active since the last 5 years for whatever reason. And so that's also a good example of the reputation decay. So basically reputation decay, or there are some very exotic use cases for negative reputation decay. So basically the increase of reputation over time. that can be, for example, some tasks I want to reward for not doing, right? So whatever, the longer you don't default, let's say on your loan or whatever, the more points I would be giving. So it works both ways. But yeah, other than that, this is the reputation decay is this temporal dimension that, and it kind of like, it was quite complicated to design because there is a design space where you, for example, say that, okay, we don't need the decay function. We can just kind of constantly increase the reputation scores. And then if the person, for example, is not doing anything for the 5 years, then all the other users who were active, they will be so much ahead in terms of reputation that the points that this first person had would already be insignificant. All right, and that also could be a way, and then we can only work with additions, and that's much simpler. But yeah, we found a couple of use cases where this would not do, and yeah, so basically this reputation decay is this ability of reputation functions to incorporate this temporal dependence of reputation you have scored, to time, practically on time dependent.
Super helpful. Super helpful, man. Yeah, guys, like you can kind of understand now just the kind of work and effort that has gone into developing the reputation framework. And I wanted to say, actually, at this point, probably thank you to you guys, the community, for helping us test all this with not necessarily the decay function specifically, but just in general our technology. Via your help with the Cypherbook testing and all the work you've done with the tester faction of the Cypher University. We really, really do appreciate all your efforts. As you've probably been made aware by the Sentinels, the faction leaders, and myself, but I just wanted to make sure that's very clear just how thankful we are for your help. So we've kind of gone through the encryption and on-ramping, the storage with zero knowledge certificates. Now, what about how you compute and verify the data that you've brought onto Galactica network? We've seen a couple of questions regarding the reputation root contract, which has not really been greatly talked about in recent times in our articles and everything. Would love some clarity on the reputation root contract and how that works and how it kind of interacts with zero knowledge certificates.
Yeah, guys, so I guess that's something for me to answer. So I cannot give you too many details on the root contract itself right now. So it is in development. It's quite a sophisticated thing, and we're working on it. So if you guys do remember, there was this article about proto governance framework, where we basically, for go-to-market purposes, we replace the root contract with something simpler, much simpler, but much more manageable in terms of complexity. And that's basically the summations across SBTs. If you guys remember, there was this whole concept that we can represent reputation points with SBTs. And that's, by the way, why the SBTs that our community is gaining for supporting us will be very valuable. But overall, we can do it in this additive fashion by just, by using SBTs for that, before the reputation root contract itself is fully developed. But basically, I would not expect it to be out in the upcoming 3 to 5 months. So that's very unlikely that we will have it. But at the same time, the work on the homomorphic encryption that we are doing with Zama, so does give me, I guess, the work optimism, because potentially the FH EVM will, for all intents and purposes, replace the reputation root contract as the underlying infrastructure. Because basically, if you think about it, FH EVM is the virtual machine, basically through homomorphic encryption, we will potentially be able to do the exact same things that we were thinking about doing with the reputation root contract. So I guess an interesting part of the reputation root contract is the whole indexer, so that we can, so that Galactica as a chain can take into account without oracles the actions that have happened on this chain in the past, which is not the feature you see across blockchains, right? So normally blockchains are blind to their history and they only know their state, right? But there is, of course, a cryptographic proof that the state is correct. So in our case, the thing which we will do is this, the part of the reputation root contract that will definitely move with FHEVM or without, is this part with indexing the action history and to enable the smart contracts to use the outputs of that as as a part of their logic. So in other words, we will be able to so assume you have defaulted on a loan, right, or something in the past, and so basically the contracts will be able to see this action in time, right? So and that's quite a powerful feature. But yeah.
Sick. Okay, that's beautiful. I think we need to wind back just a touch. Frederick, can you maybe give the audience a little bit of an inkling of, with your background in advanced cryptography, fully homomorphic encryption in simple terms, and then a bit more of a deep dive into fully homomorphic encryption and what it kind of enables with Galactica? That would be super helpful right now, I think.
Yeah, sure. So full homomorphic encryption is a different kind of cryptographic solution to the problem of how you do computation on private data. And the idea is with fully homomorphism that you can do computations on encrypted data, and the result is then also still encrypted. So I can upload, for example, my birthday in an encrypted form, and some server, cloud, blockchain, whatever, can do computation, like maybe check if it's if my age is above or below 18, and then the result will still be an encrypted data point that's on chain, and not the server doing the computation, nor anyone else seeing the on-chain state knows what my birthday is or what the result is. And thinking this a bit further, you can also then integrate this in more smart contracts that maybe require a compliance check, like the age. So, for example, if you have a compliant ERC20 token and it also checks against your age, then you see that an encrypted balance was moved, but you don't know if this balance is zero because the person did not pass the requirements, or if the balance is greater zero if all was okay. And then in a nutshell, really simple. Fully homomorphic encryption allows you to do computation on encrypted data, meaning that I can push my private data to some server to do computations with it, because I know that it stays private and that also the server cannot do anything with that data. And then what Zama is providing is this system called FHEVM, where they integrated FHE operations in the EVM smart contracts, so that you can further include it in your smart contracts and, for example, build this compliant ERC20 token. And you can also set the rules on how the encrypted data is handled. And this makes it really nice because you can, for example, set up some rules on who might be able to decrypt your data, or who is able to receive and read the results. And from a usability standpoint, it's really nice because you can also push the computational effort to the professional validators, but without giving them any access to the underlying data. So it has a little bit different properties compared to zero-knowledge cryptography. So by trying to combine those two cryptographic approaches, we're aiming to build the solution with zero-knowledge certificates and nice reputation systems.
Perfect. And I mean, both of those two technologies, they perfectly align with Galactica's mission of verification with privacy. Like they're a match made in heaven. They're perfect lovers. At this point, thank you very much. That was a beautiful explanation of fully homomorphic encryption, Frederick. I hope you guys have got a bit more of a bit more context behind whenever we say the word, the acronym FHE, that very long word that comes after it. That's the thing there. So computation on encrypted data without having to decrypt it first. It's cutting edge. It's going to really change things on the blockchain. Means you can have things like really sensitive data on the blockchain and still compute on it and do all sorts of fantastic things that you've just never been able to do in Web3 before.
Yeah. And there are also some other use cases I would like to mention, because it's not only about compliant privacy. There's also a lot of use cases that relate to, for example, governance. Because with zero-knowledge cryptography, you can prove that you are a real human, that it's Sybil resistant. And then with FHE, you can do really nice voting systems, for example, where you can really see that every person voted and their vote was considered. But nobody can see the individual votes. They just see the end result as it's configured in the smart contract.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, I mean, I've said it to you guys multiple times before. You guys are probably bored of me saying it, but Galactica is truly going to revolutionize governance in blockchain. It really is. It's not going to be like whoever has the most token wins as a general rule anymore. It doesn't have to be anyway. It still can be, but like if you have the option now with Galactica of making social weight greater than financial in your governance votes for your DAOs, for just about everything on blockchain, and that's incredible to me. It genuinely is. Now, I want to just take a moment of your time, everyone who's listening on X and on YouTube. So on X, if you can drop into the bottom right of your screen, you'll find a purple pill. If you can give us a retweet and a like on this space, that would be absolutely magnificent. Really do appreciate that. If you find the content that we're providing you valuable, and if you're enjoying listening to our CEO, Mike Sabadaya, and our lead cryptographer, Frederick Zwilling, I think they're providing some of the most valuable insights that we've had so far on these spaces. So if you want to thank them, give us a like and a retweet. On YouTube side of things, please like and subscribe. And also thank you for all the questions on both sides. We will be answering as many questions as we can after we've got through just one more main topic, and then we'll be going through them with user questions. So don't worry, we're getting to you, I promise. The guys are going nuts, by the way, Mike, Frederick, they're absolutely loving this. So thank you and well done. Right then, guys. So if we've got through computation and verification, we've kind of discussed what fully homomorphic encryption is and what it might be able to provide for us in Galactica. I guess the final part of the tech stack that we wanted to discuss was contingent transactions. So Frederick, first, can you provide the technical foundations for contingent transactions and what exactly they are and do? And then if there's any other context, maybe Mike can provide.
Yeah. Contingent transactions are basically the integration of ZK proofs or FHE computations into smart contracts. And they can be used for a lot of different use cases. Therefore, it's I'm not so sure where to start. But maybe I can give an example that you could, for example, to an ERC20 token, add the requirements that all recipients and senders need to be KYC'd. And this is a precondition for interacting with this token. And therefore, the transaction makes sure that the compliant privacy standards are fulfilled.
Perfect. Simple, succinct. I love it. Mike, do you have any other word on contingent transactions and their place in the tech stack, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess the idea is that you need to enable like heterogeneous treatment of accounts or of users on the blockchain, right? Depending on the outputs of the reputational functions. In other words, if I want to treat a given user as eligible or not eligible to interact with my token, for example, due to compliance requirements, as Frederick has mentioned, then there must be a way to do that, right? To create almost like dynamic whitelists, because most of the applications to real-world assets of existing public blockchains have failed exactly because of user experience. So there were many attempts. They normally work through whitelists, or they're trying to embed the KYC directly into the token. and basically neither of these options gives a good user experience. So in our case, the idea is that contingent transactions work dynamically in the node, and basically instead of creating whitelists, this thing just dynamically creates whitelists without having you manually add the new wallet address, right, to accommodate the logic you want. It's actually quite similar to what Uniswap is doing with the V4 with the hooks. So that's a very similar idea. But yet again, we work on the level not of the smart contract logic, but on the level of the characteristics of the account, right, of the user. And so some more sophisticated use cases could be, for example, a dynamic way to treat and adjust the credit rating that you would give to a given user, if that makes sense. So it works in the exact same fashion. But basically, this gatekeeping, dynamic gatekeeping of the smart contracts based on the reputational profile of the counterparty, it kind of allows us to treat accounts like citizens, if you think about this. So like humans, not just faceless cryptographic hashes, right? And the contingent transaction is this final gatekeeping component. So that thing, by the way, works since quite some time. So in terms of the technological development, this is definitely one thing that we have in the bag since a while. So the current, I guess because I will unfortunately have to hop off now. But basically, just a couple of words on where we stand. So as you guys see, the explosion of the Telegram ecosystem has changed our plans to a big extent because we saw an opportunity there. And as you see, this opportunity works out quite nicely for us. And so basically, there are three major parallels that we are currently doing. So one of them is the blockchain tooling and things of that nature, like the explorers, bridges, oracles, and things like that. So those will be ready, in Q4, the vast majority of them at least, and will be ready for our mainnet launch. So on the interface side of things, we are working on porting the Cypherbook into Telegram and synchronizing the storage of encrypted certificates. So that's going to be just massive because having this identity solution directly in Telegram will position us as pretty much the key player on the identity space in Telegram and therefore in Web3, given that Telegram is by far the biggest funnel for users, right? And the third very important thing is that we are working on the FH EVM, indeed, and kind of evaluating whether reputation root contract or FH EVM is the way to go. And basically, we know it's FH EVM by now, likely. And so, working on the homomorphic encryption to allow to enable all those use cases where some compute needs to be done over the encrypted data of a user. So that's the third big parallel, and basically, we are kind of on a terra incognita there, in the sense that many of these things have never been done, and that's what instills a lot of. From one side it's risky, from another side, if we make it, we're going to be the first ones and the only ones to have it. So it's and I'm quite positive about this. So that's in terms of technology project, I guess.
Mike, I love your trailblazing attitude. I genuinely do. It's one of the reasons I love the protocol and I love this team. Is that genuinely we are at the forefront of tech, and we are also at the forefront of community and just about everything else that you can think of. We don't mind experimenting and we don't mind doing it in public. So I hope you guys appreciate that kind of attitude. I hope you appreciate Mike Sarvadaya for being with us today. So a round of applause in the Telegram chat if you've got a hand to raise in the old emojis. Thank you, Mike, for your time. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Me and Frederick will finish up on a couple of technical questions. Cheers, man.
Yeah, super cool. I really appreciate everyone being here, everyone tuning in, and guys, as I said, Monday big announcement. Be ready, and thank you for being with us.
Appreciate you, Mike. Appreciate you. Okay, Frederick, it's yourself and myself, buddy. So Once again, guys, just a very quick reminder: if you can give us a like and a retweet on the space, it super helps us out. We try and be as give you as much value as a listener as we humanly possibly can. Goes for you on YouTube as well, guys. If you can give us a like on the stream, that would be super helpful. So, Frederick, I think what we're going to do now is maybe go through a few user questions. I'm going to try and find some of the more technical user questions, and we'll just go through some of those.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Let's do it. Let's have a little look here. Fifox, welcome, guys. Okay, there's a lot of node questions, Frederick. I'm just kind of filtering through the node questions for the time being, guys. Node questions we will bring up on a separate space, which will likely be next week, guys. So I don't want to bother Frederick with too many of the node cell questions, more along the side to the tech. Okay, we've got Dogger Blogger. Welcome. What have you got to say, Dogger Blogger? I'm just bringing it up on screen now, Frederick. Have you already developed synchronization between Telegram and the EVM network to have a unified KYC across these networks?
We're working on it. Unfortunately, I myself am not part of the development team of the Telegram mini app, so I can't say you how far this is. I'm just helping the people out because they're integrating the Zero-Knowledge SDK to do these proofs. Yeah.
Completely fair. So for context, everyone, Frederick is an absolute master and savant when it comes to advanced cryptography, but we have separate teams for various other things. So some questions just might be in the wrong kind of wheelhouse. But we've got Anatats who is asking, will the cipherbook be accessible to children? If so, from what age? Are there any obstacles, such as restriction on having a Next account for those under 13? I'm going to reformat this question, Frederick, and ask, would the kind of primitives that we are developing with Galactica be useful in the field of child protection, perhaps?
I think this is a good idea. So the cipherbook and the technology itself is open. There is no limitation to what age, country, or whatever you have. It's only the second step that maybe there's a debt that requires that you're at least 18 years old, maybe some, I don't know, gambling debt. And then the child will not be able to use it, but the adult will be. But maybe on the other side, there will be that there can be programs for children too, where then maybe the children has to prove that he is not adult yet, and then we can do this. But I'm not sure what you mean with child protection. Do you have an idea there in mind?
My personal thought, Frederick, was kind of like maybe either schools or accredited educational institutions acting as guardians and that kind of thing, and maybe providing safe spaces online for children to interact with each other with other verified actual children or something similar to that.
I think this is a really good idea. Maybe some kind of metaverse where you have to prove that you are maybe from a specific town and that you are in the age range of pupils going to school there, and then you can have some guarded community where they can interact.
Awesome. I need to give some more thought to this. Right, okay. So coming up with ideas on live with you guys. This is building in public 101, everyone. We've got Jan. I'm going to absolutely destroy your name. I'm so sorry. Jan Dolhis. Tell me if I got even close. I like to see how passionate you guys are. That's just very nice to see. Frederick, I see your passion burning through you every single time that you come to speak on these spaces, and I think everyone really appreciates it, mate. Really, really do. Okay, I think we're going to skip on over to the X questions now, guys. So anyone else with questions in the YouTube chat that are not related to the node cell, unfortunately, just right now, will please just ask them in the YouTube chat. We can feature those on stream. I'm just going to go over to the X. Manu, a quick question. How do you plan to scale up, particularly to integrate clean format, etc., data from large data providers, governmental or industrial, for example? Have you ever carried out integration tests, and if so, how long did it take?
So as a software engineer, integration tests I see as quite essential. So if you look at our GitHub repos, there are integration tests running automatically, checking that the packages and the dependencies are all working together. If you consider integration tests with external partners, for example, we did already the integration with Swissborg. And for scaling up, we are providing those standards as a starting point for KYC data, social media data from Twitter, and so on. And our goal is to open up this process of building and agreeing to standards in a similar way how you see, for example, Ethereum improvement proposals making up standards on the Ethereum ecosystem. I imagine the same happening on the Galactica system for standards to emerge there for how Zika certificates format the data, for example, and maybe also for the interfaces between the dApps requiring the proofs and the guardians providing this data. And if a system gets decentralized like this, so that community can contribute, I think this also allows the system to scale much better.
One of those incredible problems within decentralization in general, scaling everyone. it's one of the primary concerns of everyone involved, without sacrificing on your security or your speed. The classic trilemma. Thank you, Frederick, and thank you, Manu. That was a great question. Really do appreciate that. We've got Jimpa in the Twitter comments. She is asking. Jimpa is one of our amazing sentinels. Shout out, by the way, Jimpa. Are we asked now to do definitive KYC, or are we still testing on testnet with Cypherbook KYC? Is the KYC live on the current version of Cypherbook? Frederick, do you have an understanding of that?
So the Cypherbook version I'm using is already integrating with Swissborg. So there I had to KYC myself to use it. But the blockchain is still a testnet, meaning there is also some test KYCs issued by developers that float around and in the same space, meaning I would not call it a definitive proof yet if you proof to some smart contract there with your requirements.
So it's an accurate proof, but it's not it's not definitive in that it's not going to be able to prove anything with it on the testnet. It's pretty is the current way, Jimpa. Thank you very much for the question. That was great. And we've got Ahidik. I'm not techie, but if I got you right, about the snap being able to help maintain Galacticans' privacy and not share data with the blockchain during interaction, who owns the snap integration, since there are providers of this technology, and what's the guarantee they can't access it? So data security, Frederick, with the snap.
So there are different parts to it. One part is that it's open source. So you can actually have a look at the code and see what you're installing there. But of course, this requires some technical understanding. A second part is that we as developers of the Snap and developers of the Galactica ecosystem are of course interested in building a legit and robust Snap that handles the data with care. Then the third thing I'm thinking about is that at the moment the snaps are audited and need to be whitelisted. So we did an audit with a company called Safer, and this was one of the requirements from MetaMask to be able to install the Snap also in the stable MetaMask extension. So there are different parties interested in making sure that the snap is correct and doing the things it's supposed to, and not exposing some more data.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Frederick. So I think if you the probably best thing to do is if you're really interested in the security of your data in Snaps, firstly take a look at their documentation, and then take a look at ours, and make sure that the security aligns with your expectations. Personally, I love the fact that on Galactica you have data sovereignty. So you own your data, you hold it, and you simply publish proofs based on the data you hold. I love that. I'm going to let Frederick speak now because he knows a lot more than this than me.
Yeah, and one other thing I forgot to mention is that the Snap system is also built with permissions. So maybe what you're used to from Android or iOS, that you need to give permissions to the Snap to access some data. The same also happens if you install the MetaMask Snap. So also there, from a technological point of view, the capabilities of the Snap are limited to what the user gives permissions to.
Perfect, man. I think we're going to start wrapping up. So everyone, if you could do me one last favor, if you can forgive me for saying it again, can you give us a like and a retweet on this space? Even after we finish this space, your likes and retweets will increase the algorithmic reach of the space and allow other people to listen to it afterwards with the replays. We are sometimes getting like 3 or 4 times more replays than we are even on the live. So it would be really, really great if you could give us a like and a retweet, just 2 seconds of your time, and it's free. It would really help us out, and it would help out a lot of people with the educational side of things. Same thing goes for you guys over on YouTube who are watching us live. If you are enjoying the content, if you think that we've done a good job in trying to present this content to you about Galactica, your favorite blockchain, the only one that is really innovating at this side of the layer 1, then please give us a like and a subscribe to the YouTube. That would be fantastic, and it would really help us out. Thank you all very much for your comments. Frederick, maybe you could just lead us out by answering this one. What's your favorite part of Galactica's tech? What is the reason why you're here? Why you decided to work on this project, I guess?
My favorite part is learning about the different new systems and how they can be integrated and work together to allow use cases that were not possible before. So 5 years ago, I was really interested in blockchain and learning about smart contracts, how they can decentralize the logic of different parties agreeing to each other, and also different intermediaries being replaced by autonomous code. And now combining this with the exciting zero-knowledge cryptography and fully homomorphic encryption is again really nice technological approach that I enjoy learning about and I enjoy playing around with. And then integrating all of those together to build the foundations with Galactica so that other people can build on it and make use cases with it, I think is really cool.
Incredible, Frederick. Incredible. I can't tell you how much we appreciate having you come on to the show, Frederick, and share your knowledge. Obviously, you have a vast knowledge of cryptography, and you're always so willing to share it, which is fantastic. So thank you very much for joining us on the show, mate. I would like everyone to give Frederick's account a follow if you can. So that's astar.gala in the X space there. And just if you ever have a question on cryptography, I'm sure I don't think Frederick would mind me saying that you can probably tag him in Discord. He might not be able to see it straight away, but we might be able to forward it to him. So yeah, that would be something that you might find value in. Right then, everyone. I just want to direct your attention now as we finish up to the Cypher University. So we have released a tweet in the last couple of days. You may well have seen it. That states the fact that the Cypher University is essentially your key to gaining access to 60 million GNet worth of airdrop in the UBI pools. So 23.5 million of that will be released in the first year alone. So you're going to want to get involved. You need to get involved in the Cypher University. All you need to do to get started, you will probably see somewhere here-ish, there should be a QR code. So scan that QR code with your phone. You will jump on to Zeely to get started. So there'll probably be something along the lines of a Zeely logo and get started with the Cypher State, something similar like that. Or it might even say get started with the sprint or whatever it might be. Just please start there, start questing, do your I Am Galactica quest line, and that will be your first stepping stone to earning this airdrop at mainnet. So make sure you get on it. It's the easiest thing in the world to get started on, and then you need to put in a bit of effort in order to get even more, like way more. So get involved with the Cypher University. There's plenty of people around who are going to be helping you. I see Jack down in the in the Twitter chat raising his fist like crazy. We've got multiple Sentinels and faction leaders in this chat right now. They're all incredible people, and they will all be more than willing to help you gain more rewards from your effort. Not only are you going to get rewards, you're also going to get actual, actionable, real, helpful skills. Like the Cypher University is organized into subjects that you may well actually enjoy learning. So I would very much recommend you jump onto that QR code, check out Zeely, start there, do the I Am Galactica quest line, and you will be well on your way to going through the best path possible to getting the maximum out of Galactica.com. Right then, everyone. I appreciate you all coming. Everyone from YouTube, thank you for watching. Everyone from X, thank you for listening. And Frederick, mate, really, really appreciate you. Thank you for coming on and giving all this wonderful information, mate.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure. And also, I'm really amazed about the community, all the things that's already happening at this stage. It's really good, and I think also for us developers, the feedback is really valuable, and I'm grateful for all the feedback we get, because developing all the software is one part, but making sure that it's actually what the users want to have and want to work with in the future is a second part, and therefore this connection is really important.
Couldn't have said it better myself, mate. With that, everyone, we appreciate you coming. Thank you very much. You'll find us next time tomorrow on our Discord AMA. Discord AMA, it will probably be at 12 o'clock UTC. 12 o'clock UTC, and we will see you on that AMA. Really appreciate you coming, everyone, and we will see you next time.